Okay, the notes. Okay, we're going to review proportions. Oh, yeah. Proportions. What is a proportion and how do you solve it? We'll see some really basic Algebra 1 problems, and you're going to be like, oh, I remember now. And then you'll see like an Algebra 2, a couple Algebra 2 problems, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's the same thing. And then we're going to see for trig, right? Trigonometry, build it up to this level. Okay, so first of all, what is a proportion? A proportion is when you have, they'll call them, they're also known as, right? They're also known as rational equations. But some of these are not necessarily proportions. But again, you'll kind of sometimes find it under that labeling, that name, rational equations. Okay, so first of all, what is a proportion? What is it? What's a proportion? A proportion is when you have two ratios equal to each other. Wow, that's fancy terminology. When you have two ratios or two fractions, two ratios or two fractions equal to each other. But you can only have one on this side and one on this side. When you have one here and then another one here and then plus or minus a third one or something like that, then that's when it's not a proportion anymore. That's when it becomes a rational equation and it gets messier. But we're going to see the simple ones. Okay, here we go. So solve. Okay, number one. How do you solve proportions? Well, x over 10 is equal to 3 over 6. See, this is a proportion. Obviously, there'll be one missing part or a variable that you need to solve for. Okay, so how do you solve proportions? This is a proportion, right? How do you solve? Cross what? Cross multiply to solve. So I'm going to copy it over here again. You cross multiply to solve. Now, cross multiply is not like this, not across like the numerators with the numerator and no, not like that. Cross multiply is diagonally, yeah? Diagonally. And I like to start and always start with, because it doesn't matter where the variable is. Sometimes it'll be here on the top, sometimes it'll be on the top over here, sometimes it'll be on the bottom. It doesn't matter where it is. But I like to start with the one that has the variable first. I like to start with that one first. Oh yeah, she's here. So that'll be what? 6 times x, and then put the equal sign, and then equals what? Well, then you cross multiply the other way. 10 times 3. You guys remember these? Yeah, then it's going to be what? Well, then it's going to be an equation that you can solve. 6x equals what? 30. X equals 5. And then you solve for the variable. Pretty simple, right? Okay, let's do another easy one. Another easy easy one is going to be, let's see, number 2. 16 over m equals 12 over 9. Okay, go ahead and solve that one. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply, right? So again, look for the variable. I like to cross this way first, right? Doesn't matter which way you cross multiply first, but I like to start with the one that has the variable, so that's going to be 12 times m, which is 12m equals, and then 16 times 9, well, and then, well, you'll get 12m equals 16 times 9. I don't know what's 16. Is it 144? You get 12, right? Yes. You're not always going to get perfect answers, right? You're going to get some fractions sometimes. But how would you do this one? How would you do this one? What if I got 15 is equal to 10 over x. Is this a proportion? Is that a proportion? Well, it doesn't look like it, but it is. I want to have a fraction where there's a numerator and a denominator equal to another fraction, but that's not a fraction. So what can we do to make it look like a fraction or become a fraction? 15 over what? When it's not, when it's like a whole number or whatever, just put a 1 under it, right? It'll look like a fraction. Is equal to 10 over x. See, now you can see what you got to do here. How are you going to multiply and which ones go with which? So that'll be what? 15x equals what? Well, 10 times 1 is 10, right? Okay, those are simple algebra 1 problems, right? And then you'll get x is equal to what? 10 over 15. And then you reduce, and you'll get 2 over 3. Yeah. All right, divide by 5, reduce by 5, simplify by 5. 5 goes into 10 2 times, 5 goes into 15 3 times. All right, and just so that I show you one of the easy ones from Algebra 2, this is what an Algebra 2 problem would look like. Number 4. They'll be a little bit more complicated, but it's still a proportion. You're still going to cross multiply. 8 over 10 is equal to 3 over 2a minus 7. See? They start looking a little bit more challenging and not as easy as the Algebra 1 problems, but it's still a proportion. You still got a fraction equal to another fraction. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. And which one am I going to start with first? This one. It'll be 8 times 2a minus 7 equal to what? Well, now you got to cross multiply the other way. 10 times 3. Okay, are we understanding how to solve proportions, right? Whether the easy ones or they build them up, and later they get a little bit more complicated. But the point is how you approach these problems when you see a ratio or a fraction equal to another ratio or a fraction. Okay, so this one will be what? Well, I got to distribute that. 16a minus 56 is equal to 30. All right, and you see the rest is just Algebra 1 solving, right? That'll be 16a is equal to 86. Right, because I got to do plus 56 plus 56. I'll get a is equal to 86 over 16. And then you reduce by what? By 2? If I reduce by 2, it'll be 43 over 8. I think that's it. That's the answer, right? You divide by 2 and divide by 2. Okay. Now, how is this going to look for trig now? Because we're going to use proportions, but with sine and cosine and trigonometry. Now, let's build it up to where we got it to this point. You understand how these look and what they're going to... Okay, now, for trig, proportions in trigonometry. Right, here we go. This is now what we're going to do. Proportions in... All right, here it is. Here's what they're going to look like for you. I'm going to put problem 1A here, and I'm going to put problem 1B here, and I want you to see these side by side because they're not doing the same thing. The way you solve one of them is not the way you solve the other one. Okay, so how about this? Sine of 46 degrees is equal to x over 13 versus sine of 46 degrees is equal to, anybody have a wild guess what I'm going to put over here? 13 over x. I'm using the same sine function, sine of 46, and I got x over 13, but here I got 13 over x. Two totally different problems. Two totally different problems as far as how you're going to solve it. So that's why I need you to know they don't all solve the same. Okay, so is this a proportion? Yes, it is a proportion. You got to write it as a proportion. Write it as a proportion. All right, so that would be what? Well, that would be sine of 46 over 1. Remember when it doesn't have a fraction, you could put a 1 under it. It looks like a fraction. Sine of 46 over 1 is equal to x over 13. Yeah? Does that look like a proportion now? Yeah, it looks like a proportion now. And now I can do what? I'm going to write it again, because if I do it here, it's going to look sloppy. So I'm just going to write it again. And now I know I have to what? Cross multiply, right? Right, to solve. So I'm going to go this way, right? Because I always look for the variable and I do that one first. Oh, what am I going to get here? I'm going to get x is equal to what? 13 times sine of 46 degrees. Is this already solved for x? Yes, it's already solved for x. See, x is right here by itself. You just got to now do this on the calculator. Right? What did we do today on the Padlet? We learned how to get some of these values, right? Go ahead and do this. Go to your calculator. The online calculator, right? The Google calculator. I'll do it here. Anybody get the answer? 13 sine 46. Anybody get the numbers? I got this. Is that okay? Is that what you guys are getting? Now we're not going to write all these numbers, so let's round off a little bit. Let's make it look like money. This is like what? $9 and how much? $9 and how much? Like $9.35, right? Yeah, I know there's more to it, but let's just leave it like that. X is 9.35. That's one type of problem you're going to see. This one's this is the easier one. Now here's the other one. The other one, again, it's going to look the same, right? We did 1A. Here's 1B. The other one is not going to be as simple. Even though it looks like a proportion, it is a proportion and it's very simple. It's not going to solve the same. Check this one out. When I write this as a proportion, do you guys, this would be sine of 46 over 1 is equal to what? You guys agree 13 over x? Okay, I see the proportion there. Yep. I wrote it as a proportion. I put a 1 under there so you can see that. And then now you're going to cross multiply, right? So I'm just going to write it over again so it could not be all sloppy and busy in one spot. When I cross multiply, are you guys agreeing that I got to do this one first? That says sine of 46 degrees times x, right? See? This is sine of 46 times x equal to what? And then you cross multiply the other way. Equals to 1 times 13, so that's 13. See, that's not like the other one. It didn't work out the same. Is this one solved for x? No. No. Anybody know how to solve this problem? How do I solve for x? Well, you just got to keep in mind that this is just like a number. This is just a number. This is like if I have a problem like this. This problem right here that looks weird to you is something as simple as this. Is something as simple as this. Like, I'm going to put it over here. Like 2x equals 18. You see? A number times x equals, and then there's another. How do you solve for x here? If there's a number multiplying it. Don't you just divide by that number like that? And you divide by that number? Yeah, that's how you solve for x, right? Well, that's what's happening here. This is just a number, but just leave it like sine 46. To solve it, what do? Divide by what? Yeah, sine of 46 and divide by sine of 46. See, now you'll get x by itself. You guys see that? And then now you got to just, you're going to get x is equal to, and then 13 divided by sine of 46. We did this earlier. We practiced a couple of these on the Padlet. You do that on the calculator. Figure this out on the calculator. And make sure you enter it correctly. Anybody get it? Anybody get a value? Isaac, what you get?
Well, in money terms, $18.07.
In money terms, oh, I like that, right? Because it has a bunch. Yeah, I got this. You guys got? If you're getting this, if you did it like this. I'm sorry, did this, can you guys see those? Yeah, it has a bunch of numbers after it. See, we don't want to write all that. Let's just like make it look like what? Like $18 and what? Let's just 007, yeah, $18.07, like that. Are we good? Is that good? Yeah. All right, let's do two more real quick, right? I did those slow because I'm talking through them and okay, I'm going to do two more side by side, both of them together. But just a lot quicker. Here it is. Ready? Let's go with 2A, 2B. Here we go. 2A, 2B. 2A is going to be cosine of 75 is equal to x over 38. And 2B is going to be cosine of 75 is equal to 38 over x. All right, let's work them together. First, write it as a proportion. Well, cosine of 75 over 1 is equal to x over 38. Whereas this one's going to be what? This is going to be cosine of 75 over 1 is equal to 38 over x. Yeah? Yeah. Then, what the heck? Hello? Okay, cross multiply.
Hi, I am calling from O'Neill.
Okay, cross multiply. So I'm going to start here this way, and then this one start here, and then this way. Okay, what are you going to get? This one's going to give you x is equal to 38 times cosine of 75. This one's going to give you you see the difference? This one's already ready to go. This one's already solved for x. You just punch this in, go to your calculator, 38, oh, cosine, 38 cosine 75. I got 9.835. 9.835. You might want to round up, or you can just write 9.835. Okay, we'll just. Whereas this one, see, this one's not finished. This one's not solved for x. So what do we got to do to solve for x? What do we got to do? Ooh, my ugliest 38 ever. Divide by cosine of 75. Divide by cosine of 75. X is equal to 38 divided by cosine of 75. All right, find that out on the calculator, or find that value on the calculator. Um, 38 divided by parentheses cosine 75, close. Anybody get it? Orlando, what'd you get? Huh? You didn't put it in the calculator? Brandon, did you get it? Go ahead, Alexa. Desiree, did you get it? Did you punch this in the calculator? No? No, buddy. Rebecca, did you get it? What'd you get? Okay, I'm going to hit enter and see if she got 136.82. Correct. That's what I got. Everybody make sure you're entering this correctly. Yeah? Okay, I'll stop the video here for